All right, today we're going to dive into a pretty fascinating case study. We're looking at how a classic profession, car sales, is getting a complete, ground-up reinvention, and it's all thanks to the power of personal brands. This is a big one, so let's get right into it.
Okay, just take a second here. When I say car salesman, what's the image that immediately pops into your head? Come on, be honest. For a lot of us, it's probably that pushy, slick-talking character, right? Someone trying to hit a quota in a high-pressure showroom. It's a stereotype for a reason.
Well, here's the thing. That version of a salesperson, they're basically a dinosaur. The entire model that created that stereotype is breaking down, and it's happening fast.
So let's talk about why the old way is dying. What's the big force driving this massive change? Well, the short answer is we are. The customer has changed. The way we shop, the way we research, the way we decide, it's all so different now that the old aggressive sales tactics just don't land anymore.
You know, the single most important change really boils down to one word: trust. People aren't just buying a product anymore, they're buying from a person. And the data here is just wild. 73% of customers would rather work with a sales pro they actually know and trust. Only 27% are cool with a generic one. Trust is literally the new currency in this game.
And you have to understand the stakes here are incredibly high. This isn't some slow, gradual change. For the people working in this field, it is adapt or die. There's this huge widening gap between the pros who get it and those who are still trying to play by the old rules.
It really boils down to these 5 huge shifts you see here. We're moving from just talking about product features to actually building a relationship, from just waiting for people to walk in the door to proactively finding the right customers. And it's a huge move away from being a generic, I sell everything kind of person to being a real specialist who can guide someone through what is, for most people, a huge life decision. Okay, so if the old way is broken, what's taking its place? It all centers around this really powerful idea of the personal brand. When trust is everything, the most valuable thing you could possibly have is a reputation as someone who is helpful, credible, and an expert in their field.
And let's be clear, this isn't some fuzzy, feel-good concept. This has a direct, tangible impact on your wallet. I mean, look at this number. The source material shows that professionals who really build a strong personal brand are making, on average, an extra 47 grand a year. That is a life-changing amount of money.
So, how do you actually do this? How do you build that brand? It all starts with this simple but incredibly powerful little formula: your positioning statement. And notice the most important part. It doesn't start with I sell. It starts with I help. That one little word reframes the entire dynamic. You're not a vendor, you're a problem solver. Let's look at a real-world example to see how this works. Instead of saying, I sell luxury cars, a modern pro might say this. See the difference? It's so specific. They're not for everybody. They are for a specific person with a specific problem. Right away, you trust them more because they've positioned themselves as a specialist, not a generalist. That's the magic. And that one little positioning statement becomes the foundation for an entirely new way of selling. It's about changing the job title in your own head. You're no longer just a salesperson trying to move metal. You are now a consultant, guiding a client to the best possible outcome for them.
This leads to 2 completely different ways of operating. The old model is what you'd call the hunter. You're constantly chasing every possible lead, always having to compete on price, and it's just a high-stress, burnout-inducing way to live. The new model, it's the magnet. You actually attract the perfect clients to you because they're drawn to your expertise. You compete on value, not price, and your income becomes way more consistent.
This philosophy also totally changes the conversations you're having. The old sales pitch was basically a monologue, right? All about the car's features, trying to handle objections, and creating fake urgency. The new way is a true consultation. It's a dialogue. It's focused on the customer's life, their goals, and guiding them to a decision they feel great about. It's a partnership, not a battle.
Now, this is so important. This new model isn't just about having a different mindset or a better attitude. The pros who are absolutely crushing it have built this entire approach on top of repeatable, tech-powered systems. Success isn't random, it's systematic.
So this is what the DNA of a successful modern pro looks like. It's not just one thing, it's this whole collection of skills. You have to be comfortable with digital tools. You got to think like a content creator making helpful videos or posts. You got to be a community builder, and you have to use data to actually make smart decisions. It's a whole new resume.
So you might be thinking, man, how does anybody have time for all of that? Well, the engine that makes it all possible is technology. Using tools like a CRM, automated emails, and social media software automates all the boring, repetitive work. And the result is absolutely incredible. A 40% reduction in admin time. That's time you can pour right back into building relationships and having those valuable conversations.
And just so you know, this entire playbook that we've been walking through, from becoming a magnet to using that tech engine, it's all based on a guide from You Got a Guy. They're a community and a marketplace that's built from the ground up to support professionals who are making this exact shift.
So there you have it. We've seen how personal branding, building trust, and using smart digital systems are completely rewriting the rules for auto sales. But let's be real, this isn't just about cars. This shift from the generic salesperson to the trusted digital consultant, well, that's a playbook that could transform almost any industry. Which leaves us with one last big question to think about. What industry is next?